she has gone abroad. Look at her opening her back and showing it to all of us. She does not know she's a married woman. I just want breeze to blow my back. Is that wrong? My sister will say, you want puff sleeve. She will see this dress and be like, oh, if you don't do puff sleeve, as Kim Dave made a dress. What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Priscilla Okban. I'm a Nigerian women's wear designer based in the UK. This is DIY Queen, and in this episode I'm going to be taking you guys through the process of creating this really elegant Ashwebi inspired gown. I am off to the shops today to get my sewing supply, and as usual I'm going to be taking you guys with me. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and let's head out to get the materials that we need. The chosen gown for this episode is going to be a combo of lace and satin for this long gown. Let's go see what we find in the shops. So we have arrived at Woolcrest Textiles, which is a fabric warehouse in Hackney. I have visited this place so many times and I thought it would be perfect to find the lace, the chiffon and the lining that I wanted. They have a lot of stock and their prices are really good, so I'm hoping that my budget actually covers all the materials that I need. So come with me, let's check it out. Is that orange or peach?
I think that's peach.
It looks more orange to me though. This feels a bit more pink.
Yeah, that's nice.
And the beads are not too many, so it won't be such a nightmare to sew. Okay, I'll leave this one out and see if I can find any other nice options. And because it's lace, I can put like a more peachy lining to make like the patterns really stand out more. Okay, that is nice. That's really nice. And I think that's more peach. This feels more pink. This is going to be tough to pick just one. Okay, so we have two good options. Whoa. Oh my god, this is so pretty. Oh, that is so pretty. Oh, I can already tell my budget will not be enough because it feels expensive. It comes in gold as well.
Sorry?
Last price?
£8 a meter. It only goes up from there.
He said it only goes up from there. Yeah, I really like this one. Of all the three, because it's between this one and then those two over there.
Maybe change the 25 to 30.
Okay, let's go and look for lining and then satin, because this is £12 for 1.5 meters, which I think would be enough for the style. So if we can find like a cheap lining and a cheap fabric to make the top half of the dress, whether that's a chiffon or a satin, I think it might be enough. With the lace decided, I went off in search of a satin that I could use as a backing or a lining for the lace, because the lace is quite see-through, and I chose this peachy pink satin that just made the lace design pop even more.
Was there a particular reason you chose the peach lace?
I chose the peach lace because it's the family color for my sister's wedding. So her wedding is coming up soon and there's a color chosen for the family members and it's peach. So I have to make a peach gown, a peach ashwebi, which is basically like the uniform for the family, which is why I chose that fabric. It looks more pink than peach, but I think with the kind of lining I chose, I'll be able to get away with it. Okay, I have found the chiffons. They're over here, and they're £2 a meter, which is a good deal. Ooh. Oh, that's pink. Sorry, wrong color. I guess I don't have to do chiffon. I can do like some kind of crepe satin, so I don't have to line the top half of the dress. So I'm going to look around a bit and see what else I can find. I think I found the winning fabric to make the top half of the dress. I'm not sure what this is, but it's flowy like chiffon and satin, but it's not as see-through, so I know I wouldn't need to add like a lining. It feels like sheepskin, like not sheepskin, peach skin. It feels like peach skin actually, and it's the right shade of like peachy pink. So I think this might actually work. Let's go find out if our money will be enough. £20. No, because I have a strict budget to work with and I can't go beyond that. Thank you.
Was it good?
Yeah, £20 for everything. So I still have money for the zip. Whew, okay.
Get any zip you like over there.
Yeah, I think I'll take the fabric. I'll take the fabric and check because I'm not sure of the right color.
Choose anything you want.
Thank you. Thank you so much. See, I get free zip. Zip on the house. That's what the lady asked me to do. Is exactly zip time. So it has to fit this lace. So this one, this is a good contender. Maybe that one, too short. Yeah, I think it's be this one. This is the closest one. So I think this is the winning zip because it picks up from this pink and then the silver kind of goes with the sequence on it. And I only need to put it on the skirt. I think it should be long enough. And the lady was like, the zip is on the house, so it was not like fritting. Who? I found all of the fabrics I wanted and my budget spent is £20, so I still have £5 to buy any extra trims or embellishments I want to add to the dress. But I think I should be good with everything I have. I haven't got like a free zip on the house, which I think would work on the skirt. So let's actually get to making the piece and hoping it comes out nice.
So how much would a gown style like this cost to make?
So if I was making this for a client, because of the style and the length of the gown, it would depend on if the client is providing the materials or if I'm going to source them. There'll be two different prices. But if I was going to find the materials myself, do all of the fittings and everything, it would be £250 at least, if I'm being very honest. And I've made styles like this for clients in the past. If the person is providing your fabric, it will be around like £200 or £150. So it's actually quite a good deal to be able to make a gown like this for £25. I think we were also just lucky to find that lace for that price when we went to Woolcrest. That was just like pure luck, honestly. To create the gown, I'm going to be working with the following sewing patterns I have laid out here. The first is my basic bodice front and back, which I have a tutorial for. I also have a PDF pattern that you can download, and it goes from a size 6 to 16. Link is going to be in the description box down below. For the bottom half, I'm going to be working from my basic skirt pattern in the same size as my bodice. This I also have a PDF pattern for, and it goes from a 6 to 18 UK size. And then for the sleeve, I have this sleeve from my new jacket PDF pattern. It's already a puff sleeve, and I'm going to slash and spread it to make it into into a balloon sleeve. I'm going to link all the patterns used in the description box for anyone who wants to check them out. Now I've broken down the dress design, and I always like to do it like this before I start making the pattern, so I know how many patterns I need. And for this gown I need a total of 7 pattern pieces, and I have the measurements listed here on the screen in terms of adapting the basic bodice, skirt and sleeve to suit the design that I have in mind. For the top half, I've traced off the front and back and made the following changes. I traced up onto the waist length, and for this front I have slashed and spread it by about 1 inch along the shoulder, 2 inches along the waist, and extended the center front by 2 inches to make a deep V. And then I traced off another front that is the same for the lace detail, and then the back I have a deep cutout detail on the center back, and I have slashed and spread it the same way that I did to the front. That way I'm able to gather the slashed and spread area along the waist and shoulder back into each other to make the voluminous roomy design that this top has. For the sleeve, it's already a puff sleeve on the sleeve head. I just slashed and spread it right down the middle and added about 8 inches to the hemline so that I'm able to gather back into this cuff that measures 6 by 8 inches in dimension. And those are the patterns in terms of the top. For the skirt, I just made the skirt longer to about 40 inches. Everything else is the same, the dart, the hip. It's just a straight skirt that goes from the hip to the hem. So everything is straight along the side and then it goes back into the waistline. Now that the patterns are out of the way, I'm going to go ahead to use these patterns to cut the gown. I'm cutting the bottom half with the lace. So the skirt is going to be in the lace, and then the top half is actually going to be in the satin. The satin that I initially thought I would use to line the lace, I ended up using that for the sleeve and the main body, and then the peach skin fabric is what I use to cut the lining of the lace. I am done cutting all of the pieces for the top and the bottom half of the gown. So that is like the satiny bits for the front, back, sleeve, and then the lacy side for the skirt and the cuff, and then the lace panel that will go on the front because the neckline on the front is really deep. But I just realized I've cut the back of this dress. Even the patterns are not having it. I've cut the back of this dress as proper shoe body. And what I mean by shoe body is the back of the dress is going to my open. I just know the African aunties are going to have a field day because I actually plan to wear the dress for my sister's trad, which is coming up soon this year, and that is the family Ashobi color, that color of lace I picked. So I'll be running around serving people.
There's a part of me that is like, oh, I don't want to just save myself the headache of being judged. I'm having people like stare at me and look at me where it's like, oh, she has gone abroad. Look at her opening her back and showing it to all of us. She does not know she's a married woman.
I know for a fact that somebody's going to make that commentary. So the back top already has like I'm going to add like a ribbon to tie it there. That's how I plan to do that part. Either a ribbon or button, most likely be ribbon. I think if I wear the gown, like if I make it, finish it and wear it and I feel like it's too much skin that I feel uncomfortable, I will add another ribbon around the point where the bra is, so it's kind of closed off but still a little bit of skin will show. I think that's what I'll just do. I'll see how I feel because it's going to be hot. Nigeria is hot and it's like proper hot in Nigeria, and I'm wearing like a full gown with sleeves, so I just want breeze to blow my back. Is that wrong? Anyways, enough of my rant. Let's get back to actually putting all of these pieces together. For the top half of the dress, I have cut a pair for each pattern piece, so a pair for each side of the back and for each side of the front. And then the lace, I didn't have enough to cut that lacy top piece on a fold, so I've cut it as separate pieces and I'm going to be joining them together. I've also cut a pair of straps I'm going to be adding to the top back neckline, and then I have my skirt pieces in the lace and then the peachy lining, which ended up working well together. The sleeve I cut in the satin fabric, and then I cut the cuff in the lace. It just ties everything up so well. Now moving on to sewing, the first I'm going to be joining together is the lacy panel that's going to go behind the satin on the front, and this I'm just going to join along the center front, and then I'm going to stitch up the dots, give this a nice press, and then I'm going to come back and actually work on the neckline of this panel. I always like to add like a scalloped edge from the lace fabric along a lace neckline, so it's not just like a raw edge. So this I've just cut from like a scrap piece, and I'm going to be stitching this along the neckline of this front panel. If you have like a lace trim that could work with your fabric, you can also do that as well, and it just makes it look so much nicer. This I'm going to set aside, and I'm going to go ahead to work on the satin pieces. I have prepared the back straps that's going to help me tie up the back of the dress, and this I've put right sides together, and I'm going to be sewing up the necklines for the front, and then that keyhole detail on the back, and then along the top back neckline area I'm going to be adding in the straps, because that's how I'm going to be doing up that area of the gown at the back. So this I'm just putting the raw edge of the strap along this edge like so. Then I'm going to be sewing along the back neckline, down the straps, and around the keyhole detail. Turn everything inside out and give it a nice press, and this is what they are looking like. Now that this is all done, I am going to go into gather in, you know, that slashed and spread that we did for the pattern. I'm going to gather all of that back in now, because that's what gives the top half of this dress that like playful volume that it has. And to do the gathers, I've stitched on with the longest stitch on my machine along the waistline and along the shoulder seam, and I'm just pulling in the thread to create the gathers. If you have a gathering foot, that will come in really clutch at this point of the journey. And now I'm going to grab my lace panel that I did earlier on and layer the satin pieces for the front like in a wrap around method like so. If I had not added that lace panel at this point, I think the dress would have ended up being too sexy for a Nigerian traditional wedding. And I just thought adding that lace panel, you know, tied the entire dress design together while still keeping it, you know, fashionable and trendy. Now that this is done, I'm going to grab my back pieces and I'm going to be joining the front to the back. The back I've already gone ahead to gather in the waistline and the shoulder seams like I got at the front, and I'm going to be stitching up the shoulder seams of the front to the back as well as the side seams. After sewing the left hand side, I'm going to go ahead to stitch the right hand side and then go across the seams with a bias binding finish. This essentially just means I'm wrapping around the raw edge with a bias binding, and that's what I use my remaining £5 of this budget to do. I just bought lots of bias binding to help me finish off the seams of this gown, because the lace is a little bit scratchy and I don't want to be uncomfortable when I have this piece on. So this is what the front is looking like. It already looks so beautiful, really elegant. I was pleasantly surprised by how well the lace and the satin worked well together. And look at this back, it's so cute. Like, I can't wait to actually wear this out on the day. I'm going to move on to attaching the sleeves. I have my sleeve pair here, and I'm going to gather up the sleeve hemline and the sleeve head because it's a balloon sleeve like I love and I adore. And this I'm just pulling in the string to gather it in back to the point where I can add the lace cuff. This I'm going to stitch up and then use the bias binding to finish it off, just to have like a nice finish on the inside of the sleeve. And then I'm going to be sewing up the side seam with wrong sides facing each other, and this is what the sleeve is looking like. I'm going to repeat this for the other side of the sleeve, so that way I have both sleeves ready to be attached to the actual top half of the gown. Now I'm just going to pass this into the armhole, and I'm going to join it in such a way that I have side seam to side seam, keeping the gathers of the sleeve head to the top of the sleeve, so it makes like a really nice puff. So this is what the top half of the dress is looking like. Oh god, I'm in love. Oh, this makes a really nice top, you know. Just imagine this with high-waisted skirt or high-waisted like pants, even like wide leg pants. Oh, guys, tell the truth. Let's put the devil to shame. This is actually very nice. I was worried it was going to look too covered up, but if you look closely, this is all see-through, so it's kind of classy, but giving a little bit of sexiness. And then the back of the dress is only tied up on the neck, and then it's only pinched in on the waist, so that entire back is actually open. So oh my god, this is so nice. And look at the sleeve. My sister would say, you want puff sleeve? She would see this dress and be like, oh, if you don't do puff sleeve, as Kim Dave made the dress. So this is what the top half of the dress is looking like. So the bottom half has to be really cinched into the waist, so the proportions are actually balanced. I am going to stitch the dart for the skirt, join the skirt, and then add it to the top along the waistline. Then I'll try it on again before I add the zip. I do want the bottom to be fitted at least around this belly area, and then it will just be straight from like my hip down to the ankle, but it will be fitted like here, a little bit around the hips, and then it should just be straight because I want to be able to walk around that day. But still, oh, this is cute. This is actually very cute. I'm glad I added this lace inside, else it would have been too much boob, because you bend down now, boob will show. But look at this. This is giving like 80s glam in all the right ways. Can you tell I'm happy? Sorry, I'll calm down. I have layered the right side of the peach skin lining with the lace, and I'm going to do somewhat of a basting stitch around the side seam and along the waistline, so they kind of become one material and act like one. This I'm just stitched up in such a way that it didn't eat too much into the seam allowance. So once that is done, I'm going to go ahead to sew up the darts. The darts I've already marked with a chalk on the wrong side of the gown, and I've notched it along the waistline so I know exactly how much I'm stitching away. I'm going to do this for both darts on the front, and then I'm actually going to go and work on my back skirt panels the same way I've done for the front. So join the peachy lining to the lace and then stitch away the darts so I can join the back panels to the front panels along the side seam. So here I'm just putting right sides together of my front and back skirt pieces. I'm going to add some pins, then I'm going to take this to my machine and I'm going to be stitching up the entire side seam of the skirt. The one thing I'll say with stitching lace is everything just moves around, so once I will sew, I'll check, because if there's a weird bubble or something that gathers in an unflattering way, it will show on the right side of the gown, and I did not want that. After doing this on both sides, I went back in with what was left of my bias tape, and I used the bias tape to actually finish off the side seams. Now I'm grabbing my top and I'm going to be joining it together to the skirt so I can make a whole gown, and this I'm joining along the waistline, and I'm just adding some pins to just match certain points together, like the side seam where the darts are, so everything just sits correctly and nicely along the waist of this piece. This I am sewing on my 1 cm seam allowance, remembering to do my back stitch at the beginning and at the end. I stitched up the waistline and then I did my bias binding finish, and I left about ½ an inch on both edges along the waistline where I didn't add the top because I needed a little bit of room for me to go in to add my zip. When I tell you the zip was literally just enough because it went just beyond my hip line, so that way once I do the zip down I'm able to get into the skirt comfortably without anything ripping. So I'm going to take this to my machine and I'm going to be sewing the zip into that top edge of the skirt along the open center back. And finally, to finish off the gown, I'm stitching up that open center back edge on the skirt, give everything a nice press, do last finishing touches, and this is what it looks like.
What was your plan B?
Ooh, my plan B was to use chiffon for the top, and chiffon is normally quite inexpensive. So if the lace I liked ended up being like, I don't know, £15 per meter, I would have ended up buying a meter of the lace and then settling for a very inexpensive lining and chiffon for the bodice, even though I don't like working with chiffon because it's very flimsy. But that was my plan B. After ordering the trim, I realized I think I might have wanted the individual bead strands coming out of the sleeve. I just want a shiny sequence that is affordable, oh, JSUV. Okay. I expected it to be longer. Hey, this thing will not be enough, oh. This fabric no go reach.